Hey, what's up everyone? Tankenstein here. In this battle, we are facing off with 5,000, or it's supposed to be 5,000, glass cannon Shermans. So these are really lightly armored Shermans. Basically, they only have about 100 health versus 1 million sniper archers. So this will be a pretty, or it's supposed to be 1 million, but they actually just recently updated this game. So now there are boundaries on even the largest map in game, which is unfortunate, but I could see why they would do it. That said, I'm not one for intros, so let's get into it. And also, if I said Tankenstein, that's because my main channel is Tankenstein. This is UEBS2 Hub. And already, a lot of these Shermans are dying. Tons of them, really. But we are also seeing a ton of these archers. I mean, with every one of these hits, you have a lot of archers dying. So really, the only things I modified on the cannons, or on the Shermans rather, are the range slightly. I gave them about 10% more range in order to help compensate against these longer range archers. And also, they have a little bit more impact, and also, of course, much less health. So, being that they only have about 100 health, and they are falling in great numbers. Now, one of the reasons why you see only around 23,000 of these archers dead versus what it shows as being like 400,000 fewer troops remaining is because the ones killed by impact are, so like splash damage rather, they do not count for whatever reason. So only the ones that are directly hit by these shells, which is interesting. But, it is what it is. But we've already seen about a fifth of these Shermans killed, whereas a huge amount of these archers are dead. But this is exactly where the archers really start coming in handy, because you have a large amount of archers in the back that have unlimited range. I mean, these guys can fire as far as they want. And really, I mean, as you can see, these Shermans can kill all the way back here. But what the attack range does is how far these Shermans will actually engage with their enemies. So, technically speaking, and I'll just kind of show you this here. Get into this Sherman. I could fire all the way back if this will let me. Well, as you can see, like the whatchamacallits aren't really all too... yeah, see, like I'm firing all the way back and I'm hitting all the way back there. But the computer will only engage at a range of 330. Whereas, even though they could fire and their shells will go however far, it doesn't really quite matter. Because they will, again, only engage at a range of 330. But as you can see, I mean, these archers are still wiping out a lot of these Shermans. And I feel like at this point, we are going to see a lot of the match slow down here. But there's a lot of archers still alive in the middle there. Kind of surprised by this. So let's see exactly how this plays out. And also, even though this might not seem too major, these sand dunes are playing a major part because, for example, one of the reasons why these guys are still alive here is because this sand dune is effectively blocking them from being hit. So now they're going to start dying, of course, but even though they seem like very minor sand dunes, they are actually protecting a large amount of these I guess these little groups of snipers that are still left. So it's pretty interesting to see how this is. But there are still obviously a lot of Shermans. But as you might imagine, might not... Oh, wow. There's a lot of snipers over here. Let's see what's going on. So as you might not have imagined, I mean, these snipers are actually holding their own. And they might actually win here. They're taking down a lot of these Shermans. And as you can see, yeah, it's these hills. They are stopping the Shermans from being more effective. And this is what I mean by the border, the boundary of the map. So as you can see here, there are now boundaries. And no matter how much I'm actually trying to shrink the size of these Sherman formations, it doesn't really matter so much. So I have to... Unfortunately, it didn't give me a complete 5,000, but it still gave me close enough. So that said, I'm going to jump into this Sherman here. Going to do some business. Wow. Oh, yeah, also, they do have slightly higher amounts. Wow, that's not accurate at all. They do have slightly higher accuracy, or at least they should. I think they've got like 85% accuracy as opposed to 80%. Ooh, look at that. It's a pool of blood. So that's one thing that this game actually allows you to do. It allows you to make pools of blood in which, if they are deep enough, enemies will start drowning in blood. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. But we're starting to see pockets of resistance being wiped out here, which I'm not at all surprised. And really, the only reason why these archers in the back are being killed at all is because they have... because they're being hit by errant shots. That's it. Now, one thing I probably should have done, I put everyone on attack formation. I probably should have just put it so that everyone stays in hold formation, at least on the archer side, because I fear that they will eventually start getting far enough back where it just becomes kind of like they're standing off against the Shermans, which I guess is kind of the point. But at the same token, I don't want this to be so drawn out that the Shermans, that the match kind of goes on for 20 minutes, and the last 15 minutes you're only seeing about 10% of the total forces die. You know what I mean? So I'd rather that not happen, but, we'll see what happens here. It's still kind of a toss-up. I mean, the archers are doing a lot more work than they did originally. A lot more work. So... for some reason, a lot of these Shermans on the side here are just shooting off into the nether. Wondering why. Wait, are those... wow, okay, so I guess... that's not good. So I guess a lot of these snipers can go out of bounds now. Okay. So I guess they still have... well, remember, this is alpha. I was not expecting that. But of course, yes. These archers are very, very powerful. They've got maximum range. I believe slightly increased health, but it doesn't really matter so much because they have less than the 250 health and that the Shermans do with splash damage and just regular damage through direct hit. But at this point, we have fewer than half of the Shermans remaining. They're still putting in work, and as they crest this hill here, I feel like they will be able to really start targeting these troopers in the back, these archers in the back. I'm only kind of worried about those guys off on the side. They're drawing a lot of fire away from the main lines, and you're seeing a huge consequence here because, for example, all these archers a lot of them are wiped out right here. And so you only see a thin line. But over here, because those Shermans are not firing where they should be, you're seeing a huge glut of archers still remaining because they're only firing at a very small subset of archers in the side, which is unfortunate. But that's kind of how the game's AI is, at least presently. So I'm going to try to take this into my own hands here. And again, I only have, I think, 1.1 or 1.25 attack speed bonus on this. So it's not like it's all that great. And especially right here, like these shells, as you can see, I'm trying to fire, give or take, right in the direction of those archers. But it doesn't seem... oh, I'm already dead. But it doesn't seem to really matter because the shells kind of go wherever they want. But these archers are definitely getting a spearhead right here. There's no tanks left. I think it's largely because of these tanks here. So we might see these archers win. I think that they are going to win, actually, but we still have a large amount of tanks left. I mean, the tanks, obviously, they dominated at first, taking out hundreds of thousands for only the loss of a few hundred Shermans. But at this point, Shermans are dying at a relatively similar rate compared to the archers. We might even see a flanking formation come over here with these archers coming in, outranging the Shermans, and then wiping them out from the side. And as soon as, what I've noticed in this game is that, and really this is true to any battle, or for most battles, at least in antiquity, is that when somebody has the flank, oftentimes they win, because now they can start to surround an enemy. And I feel like that might start happening. It's not so much prevalent on this side, but definitely on that side. You have a huge glut of those archers, and they're just picking off the Shermans that are just shooting into nowhere land, unfortunately. So, let's see. Wonder if there are any... Oh, there's a nuke! There's a nuke! Oh, no, I'm going to have to make another video about that. You know what? I'm going to probably release the nuke video before I release this video because why not? That's crazy. Oh, man. So if you see up top where it says God Power selected, there's a nuke. There's a nuke! I'm going to have to do that. 1 million zombies versus a nuke or 5 million zombies versus a nuke. I want to see what happens. You know? Holy guacamole. That seems cool. But yeah, I mean, at this point, you know, comment below. Who do you think's going to win? The Archers or the Shermans? I mean, Shermans are still taking out a lot of these Archers. But, you know, of course, they are weak. But I really fear that once this whole group of Archers is done taking out these Shermans, and I think this is where the bulk of the Shermans are dying, then you're going to see a huge amount of flank, I guess you could say, flanking going on here. But honestly, this is a much more even match than I kind of expected. I kind of expected that it would go like this, where it become more even towards the end, and even though a lot of these Archers are still obviously dying, we're getting 200-300 per second, you know, they can afford the losses at a much higher rate than the Shermans, and with every 10, 20 Shermans that die, that's 10 or 20 Shermans, obviously fewer, that can launch a shell right into the middle of an Archer group and kill 10 or 15 of them. So we start seeing their killing capacity greatly reduced, but again, because, I mean, these are all ranged units, any one of them. So it's not like zombies, for example, where really they just need to be able to encircle, so it doesn't matter if they've got 20 zombies deep or 3 zombies deep. So long as they can encircle, they're still putting on maximum carnage. Whereas with these, they can fire at, like, they can attack from any range. So I guess really it affects, even if there are several of these Archers that die, it still does impact them, but not to the same degree, I think, as, like, if 5 Archers die, it's not as bad as if 5 Shermans die, for example. But we are starting to see those Shermans go. Almost all of them are dead. And so, I don't know. This is still up in the air. This is a much more interesting match than I expected. And I did not expect this at all. And I think this largely has to do with the new update. Simply because the new update exists, we are seeing it where this sort of thing can actually happen, where there are enemies glitched out on the side that are, it seems as though they're unkillable, or at least largely unkillable. And so because of that, it's drawing the fire of all of these Shermans to the point where now these Archers are starting to advance on them. So the Archers have, I think, slightly higher attack speed, come to think of it as well. But it seems to have just balanced this out. So now we have around 100 Archers for every Sherman. But as you can see, one well-placed Sherman shot will take out a lot of Archers. But Sherman shots are they are not at all guaranteed. Wow. How are these not killing him? Like, look at this. This sucks. Okay, I guess this game really needs a new accuracy model. Okay, look at that. I just killed a bunch of them. So, I feel like maybe this game is glitching out a bit here. And if that's the case, because I should be long dead. Oh, there we go. If that was the case, if this game wasn't glitching out, then I feel like probably the Shermans may have won. But, oh, the Shermans have the flank on this side. But the Archers have the flank on this side. Uh-oh. This is interesting. I was not expecting this. You have one side taking over versus the other. So what will happen? What will happen? Okay, yeah, I mean, we're still seeing a lot of these, but, like, you know, if you can only land 2 out of every 5 or 6 shots with the Shermans, obviously the Archers are putting down much more suppressive fire, but I feel like the Shermans are unusually inaccurate, and even though the Archers are extremely accurate, as you saw by all those shots, it doesn't appear to have actually been doing much. So if the archers, if their shots actually landed like they should be, I meant to say that they'd probably win because they had the huge range boost over these Shermans. But, you know, you could also make an argument that if the Shermans had slightly more health, that they would win. So it's tough to say. But I feel like the archers probably, if accuracy at all mattered here, that the archers would probably win. But again, this is an alpha, you know. I mean, look at this rain of arrows. I mean, this is almost as good as having, like, a few full auto archers. So it's pretty interesting, but I did not expect this match to go this long. And again, it's still up in the air. It's still up in the air. But at this point, I mean, where the Shermans are strongest, because they're firing HE shells, is when they're firing into a huge group of these archers. So now that these archers, at least over here, are scattered, I don't really know if it matters so much. They don't really have that advantage. Whereas the archers have they only fire a single shot. They don't have a splash damage, as far as I know. So because of that, we're not seeing so much of a boost here. You know, from the archers at least. So it doesn't really benefit them so much. But I almost kind of feel like the archers are going to win here. So let's see what happens. I'm surprised those Shermans are still there. By the archers moving up into more of a closer attack position, they're really putting themselves in danger. But we're starting to see at first, I think a few minutes ago, we had about a 100-to-1 ratio of Shermans, of archers to Shermans, but now it's starting to turn in favor of the archers. And I feel like that ratio is more or less key here, because it seems as though the Shermans are getting fewer than 10 or so kills, maybe like 20 or so kills per, well, in some instances, per death of one Sherman. But as this flank continues, we might see that change. But it all kind of depends on having these random groupings. I'm sure if there's still an archer, yeah, there's still some archers here. So as long as those archers are still alive and they're pulling away the fire from these huge groups of archers over here, we might not see much go in the favor of these Shermans. But it's almost kind of like how I thought it would be, and that it would slow down again near the end. But I wasn't hoping this much. But man, these are some inaccurate Shermans. Put them up to 85%. And see, it only kills those that it directly impacts. I probably should have increased the attack rate on these. Come on. Let's see. Oh, I got a nice hit there. Yeah, I feel like a 1.25 or like a 1.35 or 4 attack rate would be much better than this. This is just awful. And they can't fire on the move. I really want them to add Tiger tanks to this. As a big War Thunder and History fan, I feel like Tiger tanks would be immensely beneficial to this game. It'd be really fun. But this is slowing down, man. I was not expecting this one bit. It seems like no one's getting kills anymore. Holy cow. I'm just going to get into the... Once I hit 10 kills at the top. Oh, there we go. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know, guys. At this point, this is moving slowly. I wonder if it's glitched. Huh. Well, this battle has been going on for 15, 20 minutes, I think. Oh, man, it's just slowed down to a crawl. So, what I'm going to do is I wish that there was some way to, whatchamacallit this, speed this up in-game. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this play out. I'm going to stop doing commentary, and I will zoom forward. I'll fast forward this from this point onwards, via my video editing software, and we can see who wins like that. So let's see, and I'll just kind of step away here because I cannot speak for another 15 or 20 minutes, and I want you guys to see this maybe at like 5 or 10 times speed. So enjoy. So, as much as I hate to end it here, this video has been going on for an uber long time, and it appears increasingly obvious that the Shermans are going to win. So, yeah, I mean, for a while, I did not expect it. The Archers were coming back, and they were holding a really, really strong amount of, I guess, influence in this battle, but it appears as though these Shermans are going to pull through, but I feel that something like this, if we continue, it's going to take like another 10 or so minutes. So I'm just going to end the video here. I'm just going to call it for the Shermans. So thank you so much for watching. Please, of course, like, comment, subscribe. You guys know the dealio. And I'll see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.